Immigration and border control are important to a nation's economy, security, and identity. Who are allowed to enter? Who are allowed to stay? What goods can be brought in? Singapore grew rapidly as a trading hub in the 19th century. This attracted many migrants seeking employment from all over Asia. To manage the rapidly expanding population, the British colonial government introduced immigration quotas, and registration of births and deaths became compulsory. When Singapore gained independence in 1965, immigration and border control became an integral part of our nation-building efforts. New identity documents with the iconic red colour established our distinct identity as Singaporeans. With the separation from Malaysia, Singapore needed new checkpoints to secure our borders.
At that time, the Woodland checkpoint, the passport counter looked like sampan, and it's the open air and no aircon. So whenever we went for a break, our brown uniform were blackened by the dust and the fumes. And when the Woodland checkpoint was redeveloped, so the counter finally became sheltered.
As the world evolved, we harnessed new technologies. In the early 1980s, we started digitalizing our operations to improve efficiency for people and goods clearance.
The work of the National Registration Department improved vastly with computerization. Before that, registration records were captured with pen and paper.
Singapore Immigration was among the first in government agency to introduce the computer. Before that, we were checking physical backlist book and recording the movement of the travelers manually. It was a steep learning curve, but with the proper training and encouragement from the management, officers overcome their initial fears.
We continued to stay ahead of the technology curve, distinguishing ourselves as trendsetters in border security.
We believe that Singapore was one of the first countries in the world to introduce automated clearance for travellers when we implemented the IACS in 1997. Its enhanced version, the EIACS, followed in 2006.
When machine-readable passports was introduced in 1991, it further helped to expedite the clearance at checkpoint. However, it's still insufficient to process the high volume of traffic and human flow between Singapore and Malaysia. That's why Tuas Checkpoint was built in 1998.
On 1st April 1998, the Singapore Immigration and the National Registration Department merged to form the Singapore Immigration and Registration. On September 11, 2001, the world witnessed the real danger posed by terrorists.
The 911 incident was the key driving force behind the merger of SIR and the checkpoint operation arm of CED.
CED and SIR were two agencies with different mandates, and officers were performing different functions. The merger seems impossible then, but the terror threat was very real. CED and SIR officers were focused on tasks on hand to keep Singapore safe and secure. The impossible became a reality. ICA was formed on 1st April 2003.
The newly formed ICA was confronted with the SARS outbreak shortly after the merger. Officers stood united against a common enemy, swiftly implementing non-invasive temperature screenings, facilitating safe travels and preventing cross-border transmission. We did not rest on our laurels as the world recovered from SARS. ICA continued to future-proof our operations with technology and capability building. Biometrics was a game changer for identity verification, forming the backbone of our checkpoint operations, national registration and documentation.
Our officers previously have to rely on face-to-face check. So with the implementation of the biometric-based system, it actually reduces the human errors and also helps to improve the accuracy in capturing our travelers' data.
While we harness the latest science and technology to improve operational efficiency, we also train and equip our officers to detect potential threats and stop them from entering our shores.
I am proud to be one of the pioneer batches of ICA officers to be appointed as Security Sensitive Materials Officer. We are equipped with the state-of-the-art facilities on the ground for goods and cargo clearance. Also for officers, we can use the handheld detectors such as the ion scan, hazmat ID and the read eye to confirm our suspicions on the ground.
In 2020, the world was struck by COVID-19, which saw unprecedented border closures and movement restrictions. Through the difficult times when borders closed and travels restricted, ICA officers stood united and continued to facilitate trade and safe travels, connecting Singapore to the world or safeguarding our borders.
During COVID, when our borders were closed, our call center was swarmed with so many calls non-stop, from anxious travelers who wanted to travel into and out of Singapore. With the phone rings non-stop, we work as a team from checkpoints to services center to facilitate our homecoming Singaporean and safe travel for travelers crossing the border. The sense of duty got us through this difficult period. ICA grew stronger and accelerated our transformation during COVID-19.
On the services center front, we have implemented 100% online applications for all ICA services since 2021. Next, customers can look forward to more convenient self-service collection of passport and IC at our ICA Services Center using the unique iSmart system. iSmart aims to be the first system in the world to combine smart warehousing technologies with robotics, biometrics, and smart kiosk technology for the handling and issuance of secured documents.
Our checkpoints are currently operating under the hybrid model for people clearance. That means we are operating man counters as well as the automated clearance gates. With the implementation of new clearance concept, in short we call NCC, there's no longer a need for officers to man the manual counters. Instead, our officers will be able to make use of data at their fingertips to conduct accurate threat assessment. I believe NCC will be able to enhance Singapore's status as a transportation and tourism hub.
New clearance concept will further relieve officers' physical work in many counters, so that will actually free up resources for officers to perform new functions such as protective security functions at the land checkpoints. I have just gone through the new clearance concept training, and I think this will bring about a quantum leap in a way that we safeguard our borders.
I have the knowledge and I would like to impart my knowledge to the new and younger officers. Young officers are like my children.
I am proud to be part of ICA transformation. Our Singapore passport is the second strongest in the world, and with the introduction of new clearance concept, our officers now can better detail, detect, and also respond to security threats at our borders.
The evolving job scope of ICA inspires me to stay on, and I want to be part of the next wave of ICA transformation.
Today, we stand on the shoulders of giants, officers from National Registration Department, Singapore Immigration, Customs and Excise Department, Singapore Immigration and Registration, and ICA, who have laid the strong foundations to protect and secure our borders in the past 2 decades. As guardians of our borders, the men and women of ICA remain committed to protect and secure our borders, to keep Singapore safe.